every time in helping people really talk with authenticity that builds trust and makes making content way easier. When trying to understand why you might be perceived as inauthentic or why you might feel inauthentic when you talk to camera, it's as simple as this. It boils down to inauthenticity is feeling one way and then presenting yourself in another way. Why does this happen to almost everyone when they talk to camera? Well, it's because they're feeling anxious, uncomfortable, and strange doing this, talking to a camera. And they're trying to present themselves like a typical creator, which is super positive, upbeat, and inspiring. So there's this massive disconnect between how they feel and what they're actually saying. So how do we bridge this gap? Well, there's a couple of things to do. One is bring down that presenter tone a little bit. So it's pretty rare that people feel so fired up that they're like, hey guys, how's it going? Like everyone tries to be on camera, right? So bring that down a little bit. You don't need to be like that. And the other thing is getting super comfortable on camera. So how do you build that comfort on camera? A technique that's been working really well for the members of the natural speaking system is something called releasing the recording pressure. So they get a certain amount of anxiety when setting up the camera and thinking about talking to camera. But they might sort of be calming themselves down, doing a couple of breathing exercises and feeling pretty good, being able to handle it. But when they actually press record and try and talk, they might choke up, right? So instead, what we've got to do is
Hey there, everybody. Dane of Earth here. So I like what this guy's saying. I just stumbled on his video yesterday because I'm looking for how to do this thing that I'm doing here on YouTube. And I am not in my comfort zone here. I'll just put it that way. I don't know what format to do. I'm not quite sure how to do this. By the way, coming to you from beautiful Newberg, Oregon. How about that view behind me? I am loving this here. Anyway, yeah, I'm just not sure how to do this thing because I'm thinking all the time. There's stuff going through my mind, and it's only when I get into a flow that the articulation of the thoughts that are kind of swirling around in my head, and they crystallize and they come into a full narrative. And that seems to happen best if I'm talking to someone. I mean, there's a dialogue going on and ideas are evolving, and yeah, I mean, I've been told, and I know it's true, I can be very, very articulate when I get into the flow. But sitting here in front of this camera, sitting here in front of this camera is not my comfort zone. Nope, not at all. But look, this is what I figured is that, see, and this is exactly what happens, right? This is what's going on right now. I started saying one thing, but I'm also processing on what I'm saying, and I'm remembering something else I wanted to say, and I probably should have said that first before I started saying this thing, and so should I stop now and go back, right? So this is all going inside my head as I'm trying to speak. Man, how do people do this? I don't know. I suppose it's practice, right? I suppose it's practice. And so I watched another video yesterday, and her advice was, don't do what I did. Don't spend 4 years analyzing and researching and trying to figure out how you're going to do this thing. Just start doing it. And it's going to be cringy at first, and it's just going to be that way, right? So you keep putting them out there. And I'd already figured that out on my own, and I'd already determined that, look, this video, no one's going to see this video. And by the way, I'm looking at me, right? I'm right here. And that's why I'm not looking at you. You're right here. But I want to look at somebody. I want to talk to somebody, not to a freaking camera. I don't see you out there. Anyway, I'm going to work this out. Now I'm going to try to, look in the camera and I start over, man. I'm going to start over. But yeah, so I know most people aren't going to see this. So it's cringy. So it's terrible. But it's getting online with YouTube. And this is what I know. YouTube is not going to show this video to anybody. Why? Because I just started my Dane of Earth account, YouTube account. And this is only my second video. The first video, by the way, was me writing a script and reading the script. And if I'm reading a script, that means I got to wear my glasses so you can't see my eyes as well. So I'm going to try this, ad hoc thing and see how that goes. But the point is, no one's going to see this. But you got to get your videos up there. YouTube won't pay any attention to you. He's not going to start showing these videos to anybody until I've put up, 30 or 40 videos. And then they can see, oh, hey, this guy's serious. He's posting regularly. He's posting videos. Okay, we'll give him a chance. We'll show it to somebody. And then hopefully people who watch it and like and subscribe. And then YouTube will show it some more. But step one, it's 100% on me. I got to post the videos, YouTube isn't right now looking at this video, their bots and their AI going, oh yeah, this one sucks. This guy's just rambling, no good. No, the only thing they're going on is clicks and likes and subscribes and that kind of stuff, right? But they know that if they're not showing it, that I'm not going to get any clicks. So, they're not going to hold that against me that this video utterly sucks. But that's okay. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it, and that's what I'm gonna do. So, and I suspect that I will get more comfortable with doing this, calm my mind down, be able to focus, know what I'm gonna say, know what my talking points are, and get better. Yeah, I'll get better. And here's the thing. Okay, so now I'm going to launch into what is Dane of Earth all about? What's the YouTube channel about? And what am I about, right? Dane of Earth, that's me. Why am I Dane of Earth? Where would that name come from? What's up? All right, well, who am I? Look, I got to back up. I got to back up again and make this point. See, I've got a zillion thoughts. Who am I? I'm a guy who thinks a lot, man. I'm just, my brain, from the moment I wake up in the morning, man, thoughts. I'm thinking about this, that, and the other thing. And then all through the day, I have this vast universe of ideas and thoughts that are moving around in my head and, trying to sort themselves out and trying to figure out, navigate my way through life, which is pretty challenging for me. And it's challenging in part because of that, right? I'm one of those overthinkers, right? I'm creative, right? So not only am I sitting here analyzing all the stuff and processing all the time on all these thoughts that I have and the new information that I'm taking in, but also I've got this creative imagination that's constantly synthesizing these ideas into new concepts. And so it's this ever expanding body of thought that I'm just carrying around in my head every day and trying to figure out what to do with it. Okay, and I want to share it because here's the thing, I really feel like I have something to offer to the world. All this processing, it can't be for nothing, right? And I know it's not, right? I mean, I've got so much going on up here. If people could just appreciate it, but they can't because very few people get to engage with me. And the ones who do tend to like it, tend to enjoy it, right? I think I'm a pretty engaging person once I start to engage, but I got deep-seated stuff that makes me feel like, yeah, nobody's interested in hearing what I have to say. It's hard to get over that. I'm trying. So you see my dilemma here, right? I have so much to share. I believe in my heart it's valuable, it could help people. At the same time, I have a pretty deep-seated feeling that, yeah, I know people aren't interested in what I have to say. Now, layer on top of that, my deep secret that I can't talk about. I can't talk about it in videos. That adds clarity to the situation, that makes it make more sense about why I am so isolated like I am. But there it is, right? So this YouTube channel, this is me sending out my message in a bottle to try to reach someone who's going to appreciate what I have to say. Now look, I've been talking for 11 minutes already and I haven't said a damn thing. That's what's amazing. And by the way, so yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try this. I'm going to just ramble. And then I'm going to start editing and I'm going to cut and I'm going to try to cut out the snippets that, really are worth something and, patch them all together. People do that all the time. I mean, I see that like crazy. So I'm not going to worry about the fact that I'm pausing and thinking and filler words and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not gonna, I'm going to try not to let that slow me down. I'm just going to talk and then edit to try to get down to something that's worthwhile. All right. So, and in the process, I'll get a video up. So I'll get a notch up there with YouTube. And I'm going to keep doing this, right? So this was already 12 minutes. I'm going to talk for an hour, maybe. And I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to doing it on a regular basis. I can generate hundreds and hundreds of hours of content. It just won't be very good. It'll be rambling and chaotic and, whatever. But that's just because I want to be authentic, right? I'm also going to do other ones. Like the first video I did, that was a script. I read it off the paper. I did not like the way it came out. It doesn't sound authentic. You can tell I'm reading. And even though the words are concise and, make sense and it's all much more grammatically correct and all that, it's not as good. I don't think. But ideally, man, I see these guys on YouTube. I see them. They're obviously not reading it. They can't be reading it. Either that or they got just great teleprompter and they really know what they're doing as far as teleprompters go. And so I'd like to do that. I mean, ideally, to be able to speak smoothly and make cogent points and not ramble and not go on and on and on like I'm doing right now. I'd like to do that, but also be authentic. And that is what I'm going for. Now, there's another thing that makes this channel so different that I don't know if it's going to work. I really don't know. And that pauses me. That slows me down because I'm going, can I really afford to be doing something that may not work? Probably won't work. I just don't have the luxury of being able to dilly-dally. Although that's not true. I mean, I do dilly-dally. But even though I don't have the luxury, and hey, hence my current situation. But anyway, not to go off into that again. So what was I going to say? See, I've got like 3 different points right now that I was like, oh, I was going to say that, I was going to say that, I was going to say the other thing. And they're just in my head floating around there. They're not on notes. I'm just winging it. just winging it. So what was the point? The next point I was going to make? Yeah. So what's different about this video is that, about this channel, is that I'm basically going to be coming at it from my perspective, from a personal perspective. I'm going to be telling people about my life and my situation and my projects and my goals and what I'm hoping to do in the world, right? And I don't see very many videos like that. I really don't. I see people choose their topic, they choose their lane. Maybe they're talking about AI, and maybe they're talking about, psychology or whatever. They got their topic and they just stick to that. And they're talking about that topic. They don't talk about themselves. They talk about the topic. They don't bring themselves into it. They're commentators, That's what I see out there. Just lots of, and that's what I'm watching, right? Of course, there's a different YouTube for everybody. And some people are watching, silly dance, I shouldn't be demeaning. They're watching dance videos, or they're watching crotch shots or whatever, cats and stuff like that. So everybody's watching their stuff. Me, I'm trying to learn. I'm learning. I'm absorbing so much. But what I watch is folks who are teaching about stuff. And what I don't really see are personal vlogs. Are they out there? Does anybody do that? Does anybody make money at that? Because to be honest, I'm hoping to expand this channel. I'm hoping to get subscribers, maybe generate some revenue and followers, because there are things that I feel compelled to do in this world. And I'm trying, but there's one inescapable fact that I cannot avoid, and that is that I can't do anything without other people. In a vacuum, I can't do a thing, right? If I owned a patch of land, I could work my land, and do that by myself, and at least I could make changes on that one little patch of land, right? But in the digital world, if you're not engaged with people, or if people are not engaged with you, you don't exist. You're electronic, magnetic zeros and ones in a bunch of servers spread out all over the globe. That's what you are if you don't have people engaged with you. I need to get people to engage with me somehow, and I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but. A big part of that is, I'm an introvert. I'm not the guy that's out there talking to everybody and just can't stand to be alone and just calling people all the time and just talking about whatever. And that's just not me. I'm perfectly happy to be alone, right? Yeah, I'd be fine. If I spent all the rest of my days just hanging out by myself. That's not really true. I do like engaging with people, but on a limited basis. But I don't feel that need to be, out there. And I know people like that. Just, man, as soon as they get together with people, man, they just start talking, and it's really hard to get a word in edgewise. And that seems to be, from my experience, when you're an introvert, there's just so many extroverts out there, and I can't get a word in edgewise. And you know what's weird about being an introvert is, or maybe not all introverts, but I guess I'm just speaking for myself. My thing, when I'm speaking and I'm talking to somebody, I'm watching them, and I'm like scanning, or I'm highly attentive to signs of interest, right? I can tell if somebody's engaged, man. I can tell they're getting it, right? They're getting it. And oh my God, what a thrill that is to be able to talk to somebody who gets what you're saying and then can feed it back to you. And it's like, oh my God, we're creating something here. There's more coming out of this conversation than I came in with, What a thrill that is. But you know what I experience? More often than not, much more often than not, I experience just signs of disinterest. People aren't engaged. They're not following. You can tell they're just thinking about what they're going to say next or some other thought. They're just not grasping, what it is I'm saying. And I like to talk about high-minded stuff, abstract stuff, complex stuff, and important stuff. And to be honest, I just don't find most people to get that engaged with that. People like to talk about day-to-day stuff, trivial stuff. How's the weather? How's that home improvement project you got coming along? And so on, right? All the, ins and outs and hassles and small triumphs of day-to-day life. That's the gift of gab. That's what people like to do. And I think that's cool. I think that's great. It's just hard for guys like me because I find that talk to be trivial. And I myself have a hard time engaging in that, especially since I can't relate to most of that. I don't own a home. I don't do home improvement projects. My life is so isolated and odd that I can't relate. I can't respond in kind. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. That project of mine, blah blah blah. Nah. So that's hard. That's hard. It's hard when most folks are in that mode and I'm in the mode of, I wish I could engage with them about, and I do, right? So we'll be in a group conversation or whatever, people are saying this, people are saying that, and I can't help but what I do, the way my mind works is I'm abstracting from what everybody's saying. I mean by that, what I mean by that is I'm looking for the patterns, right? The wisdom to take away from this little anecdote here. And so I'll say something, I'm not trying to sound pompous or wise or anything like that. I'll just, sum it up, whatever, into, the point. And it's just like people just kind of like, anyway, so blah, 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 right? And it just doesn't land, right? So it's hard. It's hard being an abstract thinker in a concrete world where, that's how folks are. Anyway, man, look at that. Up to 23 minutes. I'm just going and going and going, talking about myself, and nobody gives a shit. But I'm going to get the video up, and I'm going to get credit from YouTube for having put up a video, and I'll split this one up into a few, right? I'll split this up into 4 or 5 videos if I can manage to, put the pieces together in some kind of a coherent way. I mean, I know this has got to be sounding utterly incoherent to anybody who's watching. No one would sit through this rambling mess. But if I can, do some editing and cobble it together into something that makes sense and has a point at the end, maybe I can squeeze 2 or 3 videos out of what I'm going to talk about here today. Each one of which I get credit for, and I won't post them all on the same day. I post them day after day. So my plan right now is to just post a video every day. I'm going to post a video every single day from now, I don't know, indefinitely, right? And sooner or later, YouTube is going to go, oh, okay, this guy is serious. And I'll get better. I'll get better. And the videos will get better. I got lots to talk about. I got a bunch of topics, important topics. I know there's an audience for it out there. And, by the time my videos start getting better, hopefully I'll start to build an audience. And I'll share the good ones, any that I come up with that are good, that I can post, and then I'll post those on social. I know how to do that. That was my career, digital marketing. That's what's so ironic about my whole situation. I'm a digital marketing professional, web developer, blah, 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 25 years. And I can't promote myself to save my life. But that's because I know scratch that. It's all these other things I was talking about. It's all my internal, well, actually, see, and you see me thinking all these different things. The fact is, up until last February, or just this last February, I was always employed. I was employed for an employer, and I could not risk jeopardizing my job. I didn't have time, right? I'm busy. I'm working, and I've got kids, and it's. Yeah, I just didn't have the time to be, doing a YouTube channel. I can barely get it together to do it right now, and I'm unemployed. I got all the time in the world, and I'm still having a hard time just getting the gumption to make a video like this. So yeah, up until February, that was just, I don't know, not a practical thing for me to do. And now, I'm going, look, my career as a digital marketer, as a W-2 employee, I think is basically dead at this point. I'm 63. I've been doing that for 25 years. That's a digital marketing manager is a job that's typically held by 20-somethings, maybe 30-somethings. But if you're in your 30s, you probably ought to be a director by now, if you've been doing it for a while. Well, I'm 63. Like 2 or 3 times the age of the other digital marketers out there. And nobody's hiring me. And the whole digital marketing space is, getting wiped out by AI. If it's not there yet quite. Still plenty of people out there working as digital marketers. But, AI is going to be taking over all that kind of stuff soon anyway. So anyway, as a W-2 employee, I think I'm toast. And so now I got to figure out how to make it in this world. And there are many who are close to me who think that, hey, yeah, no, your path is clear at this point. It's off to the big box mart for you. Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, that's, or grocery stores. That's your next move. But I'm not sure about that either, because with the tariffs coming and robots coming and automation and all of that, I don't think there's a big bright future in retail either, particularly for a guy who's never worked in retail, is over the hill, and really doesn't want to work in retail, man. And plus, if I were going to do that, I would, it would be in the San Jose area. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think I can afford to live in the San Jose area on, a retail income. So,